Hey all, it's Nitro Nerds here, and this is our weekly projects, buggy style. Now, the reason I'm doing buggies is because I'm just not going to have enough time to do one video with all the RC vehicles that we have. So I thought I would delineate it between buggies, and then tomorrow I will post a video on trucks, which will be the monster trucks and truckies. And if you're new to this channel, this is just me going through talking about the projects that we have going on in this wonderful Nitro RC world of ours. Specifically, the things that we were able to accomplish that week, as well as, more importantly, what our goals are for each vehicle for the upcoming week. If you have any questions, feel free to just leave a comment below. Other than that, hope you enjoy the video. Durability, this Mugen MBX6R right here is our most durable vehicle. And that's an easy claim to make simply because 100% of the time when we've left the track, it's been with this vehicle intact. And I assure you, it's been crashed two ways, hard and often. The one thing, however, about this vehicle is it is in need of a rebuild. Or by that I mean just a tear down, inspection of everything, and then a rebuild. The only reason I haven't done so yet is because the damn thing hasn't broken. Nothing on it. So consequently, I just, haven't really had that situation where I say, well, while I'm in here fixing this, I might as well just tear it apart and do a complete inspection on it. Additionally, it's just, a situation I just want to get one more run out of it, one more run. So, but it is time, I think, to really tear it down. However, it won't be this week. And the reason for that is I want to continue getting some laps in with it. I want to test out different setups as I've been doing. Additionally, my son and I had planned to do some mock racing today, but it's raining outside, so we're going to hold off on that until next week. And I know how I am. Once I get into something like this, I will just go through everything. So I want to, for the most part, be hands-off other than just normal maintenance items. The big news, however, concerns its powertrain. I'm running a B6 with the 2058, and I absolutely love it. However, as with everything, complacency leads to failure. Meaning that I got my eye on that clocked P5 that my son's running in his truckie. So we're going to do a little engine swap. So after this weekend's mock race with them, I'm going to put the clocked P5 in here and try it out. For this past week, other than just trying to get some practice laps in with it, I put on a new DE Racing bump skid. So you can see here the way it bolts on. I've got a rear one as well. The only setup change I made last week was on the wing, where I made it a little bit flatter, and I felt I jumped a lot better. Now, whether that had to do with the wing or not, I have no idea, but I certainly did jump well after making that adjustment. This week I do want to get some practice at least maybe 2 or 3 times during the week. And the only change that I've made right now is I've stood up the shocks on the rear, both on the tower and on the arm. My hope is that it will give me a little bit more traction in the rear, as well as handle a lot of the large jumps. I go back to durability and I can't help but laugh at the way there's a lot of people who really hype up something like the Savage, and how that's tough as nails and everything. And hey, I'm a Savage guy, don't get me wrong, and I'm making mine durable. We'll talk about that soon, but this right here, this is the real deal right here. I never realized how durable an RC vehicle could be. My next buggy is going to be an X-Ray, an XB8, and that is not because I don't love this Mugen, it's simply I like trying new things. And I figure I'll go make all the rounds with the vehicles, and then I'll find, I'll know the one that I like, I'll know the one that's me. For all intents and purposes, everything I hear, X-Ray is, the only brand that can really rival Mugen with respect to durability, so I can't wait to see what it brings to the table. The bar has been definitely raised. So 1 week of practice, mock race this weekend, and then tear down, new engine, good stuff.
Where you ever want
lot of questions on our channel, and I would say probably the most commonly asked question we get is, do you recommend the OFNA Hyper 7? And not only do I recommend this vehicle, I would say this is probably my #1 recommendation, meaning if you don't own one, this would be the #1 vehicle I would recommend. If you're just looking for a ready-to-run basher, this is your vehicle. If you're looking for a high-end race kit, this is your vehicle. And by that, well, you'll have to wait until I post my next video on my rebuild series. For those unaware, this is a ready-to-run TQ Sport, but I've changed a few things on it. This past week, what I did was I put on a stick pack. I changed out from a hump pack. I changed out the battery tray. This just gives me better access. It's easier to work with. Additionally, I put on a CNC top plate right here on the center diff. Additionally, as you can see, I put on a new fuel filter system, if I can talk. The reason I did that is simply because the stock one here would actually lay right on top of the linkage, and quite often the links would rub against the air filter. So the challenge there, I had different types. I tried the S-style that came out, and it actually went right over here, but I was worried about the airflow and whatnot. Also, with the fuel filter here, there was a fuel guard that was attached to it. But I got it mounted on okay, and I removed most of the fuel filter, and I kind of created my own little one. You can barely see it down there. And for those that might not have seen my video series on this rebuild, my goal is simple. I want to have the absolute most wicked Hyper 7 of all time. And understand, this is not me trying to brag or anything like that. It's just simply, I believe this vehicle has the potential to be something spectacular. The durability is already there. The handling is already there. My son he likes it better than his Losi 2.0. He thinks it already handles better. And the crazy part is, we've just got started with this. And while this is a ready-to-run vehicle, we've made quite a few changes, but we have so much more to go. There's so many different things that we're going to be trying out. Everything from a longer, lightened new chassis, pillow ball, suspension, all different sorts of toe blocks, different length CVs, standard diff, torsion diffs, spider diffs, clutch setups, link setups, caster blocks, A-arms. I mean, the list goes on and on with all the different permutations that I can actually employ. And it's awesome. Gearing, shocks, sway bars. This engine on here, this OS25XZ, it's my favorite engine that we have. It's amazing, the power that this thing puts out. So this week my goal is to wrap up the current phase we're in with this, which is Project Hyper Hell Yeah. Lightening it out. I've dropped about 2 ounces on it. I can go much further, and I'll continue to go further, but really the goal is just to get that base setup and then continue from there with different setup. I mean, that's when we really take a deep dive into it. So I'm going to get a lot of track practice with it this week. I'll be posting a video on the rebuild series, wrapping up that phase of it. Additionally, you can see here, I'm still rocking a $5 Losi B0819 servo on it, and so I'm about to put on another servo that will have triple the torque and probably twice as fast. So the sky is the limit with this vehicle, and I really hope over the next 6 to 9 months I'm able to show you, what you can really accomplish with the ready-to-run vehicle if you put in the analysis, you put in the work, and above all, you ensure that durability is first and foremost. Concerning the Losi Mini 8, I actually forgot I even had it. Honestly, we have not done a thing until the other day. My son Andrew said, whatever happened to that little electric car we had? I was like, oh yeah. I'm certainly not dismissing it at all. It's just, it's not my priority right now. It probably won't be for a little bit. I'm a Nitro guy all the way, and we have a lot of other stuff going on. However, I can assure you that once this has my focus, I will go off on it, and it will be a badass machine.
I'm Slim Shady, yes I'm the real Shady. All you other Slim Shadys are just imitating. So won't the real Slim Shady please stand up? Please stand up, please stand up. 'Cause I'm Slim Shady, yes I'm
Starting the Losi 2.0, my son was all set to race this last week, and then I ended up having one of my infamous dumbass moments. We decided right before, we're going to take it out, just tune it. Took it to our spot, give a little checkup, and the engine kept flaming out. And it was already tuned. It was, it was more like fine-tuning stuff, and I couldn't figure it out. It kept flaming out, And eventually, you know, we thought about, should we just scramble, throw another engine in? We didn't know what to do. We said, we just called it a day. The next morning I got up and I was like, all right, let me take a look. And I started going through, filled the tank up, and I noticed right down here, all it was a fuel line just got pinched right here. Ugh. You know, I'm not tied to any one brand of vehicle. That's why I noted earlier, I just like trying different. Eventually I will become like a, you know, whatever brand guy. You know, right now I'm a Savage guy, I'm a Mugen guy, I'm a Losi guy. But there are things about TLR that just drive me nuts. One of them, I don't like the clunk system. And I know they didn't invent it or anything like that, but I have a lot of problems with it. I mean, just minor things, but there's times where, you know, it sticks up and just whatever. So this was just one of those areas. It's completely my fault. But that's the bad news. The good news is this B5 with the 2013, it's running like a champ. In fact, I feel like firing it up right now. Live video, YouTube. Let's get this thing fired up so you don't get this sort of entertainment on Squirrel's channel, huh? I'm just kidding. Whew, that felt good. Alright, so there's not a whole lot to really go over on this. The only thing would be that this week, well actually he and I are going to mock race because I still owe him an ass kicking with my Mugen against this. Even though this B5, you see it is no slouch. But because we're taking the P5 off of the Tamiya truggy and putting it on my Mugen Buggy, we need something for the truggy. And my thought is, B5 2013. I think that would do pretty good on a truggy. In fact, I know it will because I've seen it up close and personal multiple times. Now, will it do as nicely as the modified P5? I'd be surprised. But only one way to find out. He's not real happy about it, you know, but I mean, he understands, right? So, and if it's something to where it sucks, then yeah, we'll revert everything back. But I told him you have to try things out for the overall good of everything, right? So if you can make something 50% better, and doing that only decreases something by like 1%, then that's the route you want to go. Plus, he's not a big power guy. He'll tell you that too. I mean, he's very smooth and very just, you know, methodical as he drives. So I thought, well, you know, it might be a good engine then, because we got to put something in here. So what I'm going to do is put my B6 in here. I personally like the B6 better than the B5 just a little bit. You know, now the thing about the B6, it has the same, if not a little bit more bottom end, believe it or not, than the B5. That's my understanding from some dyno stats that I've read. But the B5 is just a little bit snappier. It just, you know, has more of that. So, you know, again, it's just, you know, personal preference and whatnot, but you know, this is no slouch. I'm going to be real curious to see how it moves that truggy, and I know for a fact the B6 is no slouch either, so be some good stuff. Other than that, the only thing last week that I did, other than just getting it ready for the race, was I put on an aluminum servo saver top. And the purpose here is really to augment the aluminum plate. And so the idea is to reduce a lot of the chassis flex around the bell cranks here, because we're still running the stock ready to run chassis, and it does have a lot of flex. So we'll see how it turns out. It didn't add too much weight. I don't like adding weight, but it was only ½ an ounce more. And again, we'll offset it with something else later on down the road, because I've got a bunch of parts I need to put on, like carbon stuff. But you know, just when the time comes, I'll do it. Finally, concerning my beloved Losi 810, I really don't even know where to begin. As said, for those that are new, this is my all-time favorite vehicle. This right here is my baby. It's a little old, ready-to-run, $290 car that is mainly stock. I'm even still running the stock small block engine. I've got 3 of them now, 3 engines. and it can hang with any buggy out there. And it's as fast, if not faster, than any of my vehicles. Now over the past week and a half, I had done a little rebuild on her, and rebuild is where I freshen it up and I change things. I keep it like new. I mean, I replaced the bulkheads, all the hinge pins, built new diffs. I didn't rebuild, I built all new diffs with gearing, everything. Got her ready to just kick ass. There's one weak area, however, on this vehicle, and that's the engine blocks. I've gone through maybe 7 sets of them, and it's because they're little pissant, 2 pieces of, cheap steel, and they do not, they're not designed for people who maintain their engines, take their engines on and off. And so, the best way that I can explain this, and I'm going to have to do a separate video on it, I had the worst crash I've ever had in my life with this vehicle. I mean, it was vicious. It was at least 40 miles an hour straight into a brick wall. And it all happened because of the engine mounts. Now, the engine mounts didn't even come loose. But we've got carburetor involved, we've got top plate involved, we've got center diff mounts involved. It was just, and it's all because of the engine mounts. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a video here. I'm going to have to first set this aside for a few weeks because, just after doing everything I did to it, I mean, I spent like 8 hours on it. And then boom. So I need to just step away for a few weeks. Sometimes that, helps because I was very disappointed. And I'll do a video and I'll call it like, what to do if your vehicle hits a brick wall at 40 miles an hour. And you could go, and we'll go through and I'll look and explain at least what I, I'm going to look for things that might have broken or bent or whatever. And the interesting thing is I have put more work and analysis in this vehicle than probably all my other vehicles combined. And I think what I need to do is just put it away for a few weeks, because it's very disappointing, spending like 8 hours on it and then just bam. I don't know. I think I'll start missing it after a few weeks and I'll come back with a renewed vigor. And then what I'll do is I'll create a video and I'll call it what to do if your RC buggy hits a brick wall at 40 miles an hour. I'll walk through and I'll roll film on the things that I'm going to inspect. Like this bumper here is about to snap off. Anyway, so that's where we are with my beloved 810. So, it sucks. I hate seeing that happen, but, it's only going to make her stronger in the end and make me less of a dumbass. So that's it. This is the buggy version of our current projects. And as noted, tomorrow I will post what we got going on with our trucks. And I can tell you there are some very interesting things. At least I think there are. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day.